So it is the third week of Superhero Month. So my last video I said I was going to review the first two Superman movies. I haven't actually gotten around to watching the second one. There were some issues on the weekend trying to watch it and all that. So yeah, I've only watched the first one. But I figured I had enough things to say about the first one to make a whole video on it. Especially seeing as how I've never seen, as I said before, I've never seen a Superman film before. And the only reason I can think behind that is because growing up, I suppose, there wasn't really any Superman films coming out at the time. I mean, there were Batman ones, like I saw Batman Forever and Batman and Robin at the cinema. Whereas Superman, there was just the old films, the 70s and early 80s films, and there was the TV series. And like I said, I did like the Dean Cain Superman TV series. But I think part of that came down to the fact I had a bit of a crush on Dean Cain, to be fair. Because Superman as a character has never really appealed to me. I mean, yeah, he's strong, he can do lots of things, you know, he's a good guy and all that. But nothing's really stood out as, yeah, this is a character that I really want to watch. And then things like Batman Returns came out, which was supposed to be set sort of around, like, set within the other films. And then you had Man of Steel, which didn't really appeal to me. So yeah, I've never really sat down to watch any Superman films until recently when I decided to watch the original Christopher Reeves one from 1978. And I liked it. I will say, overall, I actually really did enjoy it. To sort of talk about the film, I'll talk about what I liked about it first, and then I'll talk about maybe things I didn't really like or didn't enjoy. So first of all, of course, the main appeal of these films is Christopher Reeves as Superman. Because there is something about him in the uniform, in the outfit, looking all sort of heroic and sort of, yes, I will go and save the day sort of thing. And it's actually got this whole montage bit. Once he first starts fighting crime, you see him, and what I love about it is you see him taking down like guys with guns, but you also see him helping a cat down from a tree. You know, you sort of see him doing the sort of fighting crime superhero things we want to see, because a lot of superhero ones, they're mostly going up against the big, bad, evil things, and that's their main focus. So it's nice to watch a superhero film where they're actually fighting crime. You know, they're actually helping people in more ways than just saving the world. Yes, he has to do that as well, sort of. But I liked that whole sort of sequence. And like I say, Christopher Reeves comes across really well as both Superman and Clark Kent. And one thing I really noticed, I never really noticed this about Clark Kent and Superman before, is a lot of people say, oh, he puts on a pair of glasses and suddenly no one can recognize him. What's interesting about the film that I noticed is that it's not just the glasses. It's not just that. What he does, everything changes about him when you really look at it. I mean, Clark Kent is a sort of stuttering, oh, Lois, oh, yes, kind of guy. He's got his glasses, his hair's combed differently. He sort of, you know, he sort of stoops down a bit as well. He's not stood up straight. And when you really look at it, no one really looks at him. Everyone's sort of talking at him, you know, or he's talking at them and they're just sort of walking around with files. No one really pays attention to him because there's not really a lot to stand out, especially in a busy, city where everybody's too sort of preoccupied with what they're doing. So his boss doesn't really look at him. Lois doesn't really look at him. I think the only one that really does is probably Jimmy Olsen. So it's really easy to believe that when he becomes Superman, everything changes. Suddenly he's, you know, upright and strong, his hair's different, his glasses are gone, and suddenly he exudes this confidence. So it's quite easy to be tricked into thinking they are two different people. I could certainly see why people would think that. So like I said, I liked that. I liked those little differences that sort of, if you didn't know, you could almost be fooled into believing. I also do like that Lois did sort of have this bit at the end where she is sort of, you know, she questions whether, wait, where were? Are they the same piece? But ultimately, of course, says no, because, you know, they have to keep the secret identity and everything. So I really love the way they did that. The plot was traditionally sort of big, Lex Luthor wants to do something evil, which is all to do with real estate and destroying parts of California and everything. And I thought he made a good bad guy. You bought that he was this evil, genius, smart guy. And his lair, oh my god, I want his underground lair. That swimming pool area and the sort of old-fashioned New York architecture underneath, I loved it. I wanted his lair. That was brilliant. I wasn't so sure about him having a sort of comical sidekick, and his female assistant I didn't really sort of see that. I suppose she was the sort of eye candy for when he was trying to do the whole changing the missile coordinates and all that stuff. But otherwise, she just sort of spent most of her time criticizing him. But I suppose she did play her part. So yeah, those are the things I enjoyed. I like that they had this whole sort of thing at the beginning, not just with Krypton, with Clark growing up and he has to suffer his father dying and stuff like that. So they give him some depth to his character and tragedy as well. I mean, his whole planet blew up, for crying out loud. I didn't realise just how much they did focus on that, because of course they have to do the whole Krypton blowing up, but they also have this whole setup right at the beginning for the second one, which I think is a bit kind of weird, because, okay, I understand the two films being filmed at the same time and having that link with the second one, that continuity, but if you're seeing this film for the first time and you know nothing about the second one, it does feel a little bit weird seeing this sort of trial of these characters you don't know suddenly being sent away, and it's like, okay, do they come back at the end? Are they the big bad guys? No, you have to wait till the next one. So it's a bit odd. So I suppose that sort of brings me into the things that I didn't necessarily like. I mean, the end bit is a bit of a cop-out. Everybody says it is. The way that he resolves it all in the end is, the science behind it is too baffling. The whole sort of thing of, you can't just spin the world backwards and and time will go back. And the fact that he does that and then he saves Lois, doesn't get caught in an earthquake, but it doesn't really explain how he managed, because suddenly her car doesn't get caught in an earthquake. So it's like, so what did he actually do? I got really kind of confused on how he actually solved it all in the end, apart from spinning the world back. So I felt that the ending was very kind of confusing and not explained very well. There's also a scene, the whole Lois and Superman flying scene is actually really, it's nicely done. It's very romantic. It's sweet, impractical in parts, but still sweet. Until they do this voiceover bit, where I guess we're hearing Lois's inner thoughts, which is really weird and didn't work for me. I got very sort of cringy at that, but I was like, oh, they did not need this. This was completely irrelevant. So I didn't really enjoy that part. Otherwise, to be honest, I don't really have much else to say about the film, criticizing wise. I actually thought it was an enjoyable film and I wouldn't be against watching it again. And I do also want to watch the second one. I hear the second one's good. The third one is, depends who you ask, people have mixed opinions about it. And the fourth one is apparently rubbish and I ain't planning on watching that. I've seen enough of these videos that talk about how bad it is to know that I really don't want to watch it. But otherwise, I really enjoyed the Superman film, and it's sadly appropriate to talk about this film now because it's just been announced that Margaret Kidder, who played Lois Lane, has died at only 69. That's really depressing, especially when you consider that Christopher Reeves had that horrible accident, got paralysed, and then he's been dead a few years now as well. So that kind of I'm kind of glad I saw it before that happened, or at least before she died, because it was depressing enough watching a guy play Superman when you know what happens to him in real life. But yeah, R.I.P. And like I said, she was a good Lois Lane. I enjoyed her in it as well. I thought the two of them worked off really well together, and she definitely she was a good female character actually for her tenaciousness and everything. I thought she was a good character, and I look forward to seeing her in the second one as well. So yes, I definitely enjoyed the first Superman film, and I look forward to watching the second one. So yeah, I do actually like something DC. It's not all Marvel. So yeah. However, next week I have no idea whether it will be DC, Marvel, or both, but we'll have to wait until next week.